was a glitch. I thought I had it scheduled for 2 o'clock and I didn't have a button to push for starting. So, I don't know. Not sure what's going on. And I don't have a confidence monitor all of a sudden. No, I had to like turn everything off and turn everything back on again. I apologize. People have a fear of stuff going wrong. And well, that was stuff that went wrong. I'm even off center on this. Here, hang on. Oh my goodness. I'm so combobulated. There. I guess that's it. That's an interesting start to the afternoon, I guess. I'm talking about being having a fear of being on camera. And all of a sudden I'm tongue-tied a little bit. That the whole thing kind of threw me off. Might be a good lesson just because of what we're talking about. I used to have, I remember my very first time going live. It was on Facebook. It was on my camera, and I was at a Christian elementary school down in Guatemala. And I turned it on and went live for a couple of minutes. And I was afraid of that. And it wasn't even me being on the camera. I just wanted to show you the kids. And it wasn't even me. I made a sentence, and the sentence blurted out, and it was terrible. And yeah, that was my very first time going live on anything. And nobody, well, somebody saw it. Somebody actually commented and said, that's great. They weren't talking about me. They were talking about it being great for them. I'm going to make a small adjustment. There. How's that? I'm kind of shooting from the hip right now with everything else going on or not going on. Had this great intro already. But what I wanted to talk today about is the fear of being on a camera. And I'm looking at a camera, and I think that I know that, yeah, no, that's not it. Yeah, I totally messed up the whole going live setup today. I normally don't do it. I'm not sure why. But let's just get into talking about a fear of being on camera, because some people, they can do things and they can do things great. Like you've got a skill and you know the skill and you can do the skill and you don't even think, you do it so well, you don't even think twice about it. But you put a camera in front of a person and it seems like your skill level drops 2 levels because you're subconsciously thinking about the camera, not thinking about the thing that you're doing. And you're fighting a fear that really isn't there. My mindset is I don't care what people think about me on camera. I don't care what people think about me. I mean, it's not like I'm not trying. I am trying. I try to do my best, but I also try to be as calm and as casual as I can possibly be. Because if I take it too serious, I've noticed something about myself. If I take something too seriously, I kind of tighten up and nothing goes right. If in my mind I'm thinking it's going to be okay, because at the end of the day, does it really matter? And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So I may as well just relax. Now, it may matter to some other people. This is not rocket surgery or brain science or anything else like that. So the idea of fear being on camera, there's kind of 2 camps of people. People who think, just hit record. What's the big deal? That's me. Now, I went from the other camp to that camp. The people who think, just hit record, what's the big deal? And the other side is genuine dread. Yeah. So name the fear out loud early by saying, yep, this scares people. This camera thing scares people. And even for older people who, like people my age, maybe you've never been on camera before. Now, I've got a bit of a heads up because I spent close to 25 years in public speaking. So, and it's been 20 some years since I've actually done that outside of a few speaking engagements. So there's that. So my fear is subdued somewhat. I still have a fear. The problem is when I do live events and I speak live, my fear comes out in me being stupid, me thinking I'm funny. I have what some people have called a unique, very dry wit type of humor, and some people don't get it, and some people do, and some people don't get it, but they don't like it. What are you going to do? That's who I am. And it scares people. Now, for people our age, maybe some are thinking, I don't care what people think, and I don't care about going on YouTube. And maybe that's just a way of masking the idea of not going on at all. I don't care, and I'm not gonna do something. But I am of a very genuine opinion that if you have mastered something, or if you know something, or if you have a passion about something, sharing it on YouTube is a very, very good idea, because you are the steward of everything that God has blessed you and given you by way of your gifts and abilities and competencies and all of those things. Why wouldn't you share them? YouTube is a great way to do exactly that. Remember, YouTube is not a social media platform, apart from YouTube Shorts, which tries to be a social media platform. But YouTube is an education and entertainment platform. And if you put the two together, that's a bit of a winner too. So the open loop is really, there's two types of camps. And you need to name the fear. Now, the danger of the first camp is just hit record. What's the big deal? The danger of that is that you don't prepare. You wing it. And then you come across as an idiot, because it really does look like you just didn't prepare. A little bit like how I started this one. I did prepare. It's just that I missed the tech thing of it. Not sure why. Yeah. So there's that. Now, I do want to mention a few things about having a fear of standing in front of a camera or being in front of a camera. Fear is real. The fear is real. Think about some of the things that you are actually afraid of. I'll tell you, I'm afraid of heights, and yet I own an off-road vehicle, a Jeep Rubicon, and it goes off-road. It goes off-road very well. But I live in the Front Range of Colorado. Where I live, it's flat, but I'm not far from mountains, and I'm not far from some really good off-road trails, some of which have cliffs down the one side, and there's no guardrails up there, by the way, and it wouldn't matter if there was. I've been on some of those roads where it is a cliff off the edge, and it's a one-lane road. It's just a little bit wider than the Jeep itself, and my legs start to shake. I get nervous. I get really, really nervous because I'm thinking I'm going to die. And that is a real fear. And I acknowledge the fear. But yet I've learned to deal with all of the things that go along with that and do it anyway, because I want to get over the fear. Again, the fear of heights. I discovered my fear of heights on a 10-meter tower. I'll tell you the story. Pretty good story. I was in a 10-meter tower. It was my freshman year at college, and we went to a big swimming complex, and there was an Olympic-sized pool, and there was an Olympic-sized diving board, 1 meter board, 3 meter board, 10-meter tower, and a bunch of us got the idea that we would go off the 10-meter tower. Now, I'd never been on a 10-meter tower before in my life, but I wasn't going to be, because all the other guys were saying I'm going to go off the 10-meter tower. The last thing I'm going to do is back out and saying, guys, I'll just watch. And one of the things, I wore glasses since I was about 6 years old, and when I take my glasses off, and I'm quite nearsighted, and that's going to come into play because we're in line. They only let so many people up. You have to go from the up a set of stairs to the 3-meter board, up a set of stairs to the 10-meter tower. Stairs, and by stairs I mean ladder. And when you get to the first ladder and it's your turn to go up, right at the ladder, you look through the rungs, and right at the ladder there's a sign that says, if you go up, you must jump off. And I'm not going to back out. Too much peer pressure. It was all peer pressure. But I'm starting to shake just a little bit. And I've never been at height before, and so I never really knew I had a fear of heights. And I said, fine, I'm going to jump anyway. And I walk up. I go up the ladder. It's my turn. I go up the ladder. I get to the 3-meter area, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I should just go off the 3-meter board. But everybody else was going off the 10-meter tower, and so I did the same thing. So when I got to the second ladder to go from the 3-meter to the 10-meter, there's the same sign that says, if you go up, you must jump or dive. Go off. You can't come down. Basically, they're saying you can't come down the ladder. We don't allow you to come down the ladder. You go off the edge. And when I got up to the top, for the first time in my life, I realized that I had an absolute fear of heights. And I'm standing on a 10-meter tower. And I walk over to the edge, and I look over the edge. I'm blind. I don't have my glasses on. I can't distinguish where the air stops and the water starts. Everything around me is a blur. And what do I do to cover for my fear? I get silly. And so I started to run up to the edge and pretend to jump, but I didn't. And I did that twice, and the lifeguard got livid with me because they don't like people goofing around up there. So finally, my third time, I stepped up to the edge, and I just kind of leaned off and jumped off the edge, tried to keep my feet below me. But the problem was I couldn't tell where the water started, so I kept looking down. And when you go off something and you're trying to get your feet to go to stay on the bottom side of everything, so to speak, be the first in the water, I'm leaning forward. And so I wasn't going down like this. I was going down like this. And that's how I hit the water. They told me it was on quite an angle because I kept looking for where the water was. And I ended up looking like an idiot. I ended up being an idiot, pretty much in that I did not get hurt. People did ask me, did that hurt? And I said, no, it didn't hurt because I was a man. But that was my first genuine step of fear. And like I said, the fear is real. Now, we're not talking about jumping off 10-meter towers, and we're not talking about skydiving or going to the moon or going up in the shuttle. There's fear there, genuine fear. And fear of being on camera. It's not vanity, it's biology. Being watched triggers a genuine threat response in pretty much everybody. So for 50 plus people like ourselves, we worry about looking foolish in front of people who know us, who knew who we were and are wondering who we are by watching us on camera. We fear that we're not going to come across naturally, which initially we probably won't. We have the fear of the tech not doing the right thing at the right time, like how this one actually started. I actually had to, anyway. And then the fear of, who am I talking to? Just who am I talking to? So the fear is real. So let's not minimize that. The fear is real, and the camera feels like a room full of judges. Thinking who's on the other side of this camera that's going to judge me? Well, guess what? I don't care who it is. There's going to be some that are going to judge it. There's going to be some that are going to laugh. There's going to be some that are going to dismiss you and your message. Oh well, that's how I feel about it at this point in my life. Oh well, but the brain doesn't know that yet, so the brain kicks in the fear. Now let's reframe the whole thing. Instead of the camera being a room full of judges, think about it as a camera being one person, your best friend, the one you've been talking to forever. So you're talking to just one viewer. You're not talking to an audience. You're talking to just one person, and your job isn't to perform, unless you're a performer. But your job isn't to perform. It's to help. I would like for you to understand this thing that I'm doing. Let me help. So shift your focus off of yourself and onto the one person that you're serving. Fear shrinks when it's not about you. So take it off you and think about the other person. Think about the other person. I don't have a confidence monitor, and I keep looking down on it, and it's flashing stuff at me, and it doesn't need to be. So I apologize for that. But so fear shrinks when it's not about you. So think, I've got something to share with people who need to hear it. Nobody's first video is going to be good. Get that out of your head. You need to give yourself permission to be bad. Not just once, not just twice. You're going to be bad before you get good. That's how it is with absolutely everybody. Remember, Michael Jordan didn't make his junior high basketball team or his freshman high school basketball team. I forget what it was, but he didn't even make the team. He didn't make the bench. He was that bad, but it didn't stop him. He kept going. And so that's the idea. You can go on camera for the first time and be really bad, but then the next time you do it, it'll get just a little bit better and just a little bit better and a little bit better. So what actually works, here's some practical advice for what actually works about being camera, getting a little bit better on camera. Repetition beats courage. You can be as courageous as you want, but you only get better by doing it and then doing it again and doing it again and doing it again and doing it again and slowly getting better. You don't wait to feel good. It's not feel good and do it. It's do it and feel good. The more you do it, the more you'll get comfortable doing it. And the more comfortable you get doing it, the little bit better you get doing it. But you can't get better. Oh, excuse me. You can't get better unless you do it. Coffee break. You can't get better unless you start doing it. So something else you can do is start with a warm-up. I recorded a video this morning, and I talked through the whole thing, sitting right here, staring straight at the camera, looking straight at it. And I talked it through. I read a few things, stopped and said, that doesn't sound good. But I talked out loud. Nobody else is in the room. Some people even get weird talking to themselves in a room all alone because you're just not used to doing it. Well, start by getting used to doing it. So start with a warm-up. Talk to the camera for at least 60 seconds with no plan to publish anything. No plan. You're not publishing it. You're just looking at it. Now, if you're doing it with just your phone, just look at your phone and talk to it. It's almost like making a phone call or a FaceTime or something. Yeah. If you're worried about remembering stuff, well, that's fine. Have notes, have bullet points, and don't be afraid to go, let me check my notes. Let me check this. It's okay to do that. It just makes you real. You're not trying to be the national news reporter with big teleprompters and a big stage and everything like that. At least I'm assuming you're not trying to do that. But just have some notes and some bullet points and just be you. Remember, you're not talking to the world. You're not talking to a crowd. You're not talking to a room full of judges. You're talking to one person, and that person is your best friend. Another thing to do, I don't do this as much, but record standing up because it gives you a little bit more energy. Nervous energy has somewhere to go. I know someone that starts in by just, it's waist up stuff, but she dances and she dances her way in and she dances her way out. And I thought about doing that, but ain't nobody want to see me dance, not even try to dance. I'm rhythm impaired. I'm not bad at it, but you don't want to see it. And come to think of it, I don't want to see it. But record standing up, give yourself a little bit of energy, okay? And when it's all done, and this is probably the most uncomfortable thing to do, but do it, is when you're done, watch yourself. Watch the video you just made. What? Watch the video you just made. Just watch it. It's going to hurt. But you'll start to take notes. And like, if you can back out of it and be objective and go, oh yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Edit that out. Or you start taking notes and going, okay, next time I'm going to frame myself up better on the camera. And next time I'm going to have not so much headspace, or next time I'm going to do this, or next time I'm going to do that. But you're making some positive notes, and then the next time you just try to add one thing that you learned from watching your own footage. But you got to watch your own footage, and especially starting out, because it's one of the best ways to learn how to get just a little bit better. So here's the thing that I want to just wrap it up with is this: is whether you have fear, the fear is never going to disappear. Just get it in your head. The fear is never going to disappear. It's always going to be there. Even if you feel you've conquered it, it's still going to be there a little bit in the background. But start now. Even if you're fully afraid, remember, you do it and it feels good. It's not feel good and do it, because if you wait to feel good, you may never do it because you may never feel good. So the fear never fully disappears, but start now. Start now. Share what you know. Help others. Waiting to be fearless means you're never going to start. So Again, I say, share what you know, help others. You already have the expertise. The camera is just a delivery truck. Uh, YouTube is just a digital Amazon. Just you're delivering stuff to somebody who needs to hear it, and people need to hear what you have to say. And that's why I do this. I'm live every Tuesday, and if we haven't met, by the way, my name's Bill. I'm in Front Range, Colorado. I do look east and see flat as a pancake, and I look west and I see the Rocky Mountains. And my Jeep and I have done several trails up there. Absolutely a blast. Just thought I'd share. But that's it for now. If you, put something in the notes, you watch this, put something in the notes, and tell me your fear and tell me how you got over it, or tell me how you're coping with it. And if it's fear of going live on camera, then please start now. Film yourself, watch yourself, learn how to do it, get it a little bit better. Start a YouTube channel because people need to hear what you've got to offer. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week live right here. Let's see if I can finish this out a little bit the right way, maybe.